My name's Peter Dernbach, and I'm an American attorney working in Taiwan, and I'm an intellectual property attorney, and I work with the IP constituency here at ICANN. Well, the ICANN community structure is really special in that it's a multi-stakeholder system, and all stakeholders have an opportunity to become involved and to be a part of the policy development process. Now, for the IP constituency, we represent the interests of IP owners from around the world. And IP owners are particularly interested in the domain name system and how the domain name system interacts with their IP rights, particularly trademark rights and copyright rights. Well, one of the things that the IP constituency has been particularly interested in is, of course, the extension of the new GTLDs, and to make sure that sufficient right protection mechanisms are in place, both for listings at the new GTLD level and for all of the things that will be rolled out with that. But it goes far beyond that, because really the IP constituency and the IP owners that the IP constituency represents really have interests and concerns on many different topics that the GNSO will be making recommendations to the board about. So it goes beyond just the rights protection mechanisms. You don't have to be an IP attorney to join the IPC. The IPC is open to any IP owners, any intellectual property owners, and anyone who is interested in the intellectual property issues. ICANN has a very specific policy development process, and so all of the different stakeholder communities have an opportunity to participate in that. A lot of the work is done in working groups, and I'm currently a member of a policy development process working group on the translation or transliteration of contact information. This is another issue that arose with the increasing globalization of the domain name system and the work of ICANN. So now there are going to be internationalized domain names, and that will allow for registrants to enter language, including contact information, in their own native language, the language they're most familiar with. As I mentioned, the working group, typically they try to make sure that there's good representation from all the different stakeholder communities in each working group. So as you're going through the issues, as you're identifying the questions, as you're coming up with answers and possible recommendations that might ultimately be included in a recommendation and a resolution to the GNSO Council, which then could lead to a recommendation to the board, they really try to make sure that all of the stakeholders have had an opportunity to provide their comments and be a part of the process. Well, you should join the IP constituency if you're concerned about intellectual property rights and the impact that the domain name system has on those rights. As we mentioned earlier, intellectual property rights are typically based on a specific geographic area. They're jurisdictional, whereas the domain name system is global. So it's something that a lot of intellectual property owners and those people like me who work with intellectual property owners want to be involved in, so that we can make sure that the interests of intellectual property owners are considered when making policy that affects the entire domain name system.